Hearty greetings to all participants. The Journal of Environmental Science and Sustainable Development, University of Indonesia is a biannual peer-reviewed journal that provides an important platform for academic, policymakers, practitioners, and community representatives to examine, exchange, and reflect on a wide range of issues related to environmental science and sustainable development, particularly in developing countries. It is my great pleasure to extend heartfelt congratulations on the convening of the GESSD International Symposium 2025, which brings together more than 1,000 participants from 15 countries on November 7 to 8, 2025. As Governor of North Maluku, I'm Shirley Laos, commend this initiative for fostering collaboration, advancing scientific discourse, and strengthening our shared commitment to a more sustainable and resilient world. I wish the symposium great success and fruitful discussion that contribute meaningfully to global and regional environmental solutions. Thank you.
As we enter a decade of decisive action for climate, nature, and people, the global community is coming together to respond to this crucial challenge. And Indonesia is playing a pivotal role. April Group, a leading producer of bio-based renewable products, is taking an active part in this global movement. This is April 2030.
April 2030 is our commitment to deliver a positive impact on climate, nature, and people while growing as a sustainable producer of fiber and pulp-based products. By 2030, we will achieve net zero carbon emissions from all our land use, positive and measurable gains in nature, and zero extreme poverty in our communities, and positioning our business for sustainable growth for the next 10 years.
Indonesia is abundant with energy, which is produced from various sources in various forms and is continuously moving the dynamics of every life, every day. Pertamina has continued to be the leader for more than 6 decades, with commitments to perpetually innovate in bringing energy to life. Consistently giving the most in every exploration, production, and other business activity to produce the best energy worldwide. Delivering energy evenly to cities, to remote frontiers, so that everyone can use the energy and move forward together. Various initiatives are taken in developing renewable energy, such as geothermal, solar cell, biofuel, lithium battery, and even electricity. Together with its affiliates, Pertamina is committed to achieve energy sustainability, fuel the economy, and build the future. Pertamina ensures that energy is also available for the environment, education, healthcare, and community empowerment. Pertamina believes that every continuous innovation is the energy to step forward. Pertamina is the energy, driving force of progress for every part of life.
Jika ada yang bilang kamu tidak mampu berdiri, jawablah dengan menunjukkannya cara berlari. Bertumpu pada kedua kaki sendiri. Lalu mengayunkannya dengan percaya diri. Kau harus percaya bahwa setiap perjalanan selalu memiliki arti. Setiap halangan adalah pengokoh keteguhan diri. Setiap batu adalah pijakan menuju tempat yang lebih tinggi. Dan setiap batas
Itu pasti merdeka. Itu pasti merdeka. Iya.
Sejak BRI berdiri, menjadi kaki bagi orang-orang yang ingin menembus batas diri. Tak henti melampaui diri, dari dulu, kini dan nanti.
Institute for Advanced Science, Social and Sustainable Future atau IAS adalah bagian dari PT Kia Cendikia Alami yang didirikan pada tahun 2022. Kami adalah lembaga yang berkomitmen untuk mempromosikan keberlanjutan lingkungan melalui karya ilmiah akademik serta praktik non-akademik terbaik. IAS diinisiasi oleh para ahli di bidang lingkungan sosial dan studi keberlanjutan yang bertujuan untuk menciptakan iklim akademik yang lebih baik. Morality before knowledge. Kami percaya bahwa niat baik harus dilaksanakan sesuai dengan langkah-langkah yang benar, karena niat baik saja tidak cukup untuk membuatnya benar. Oleh karena itu, kami akan memastikan bahwa setiap langkah yang diambil untuk mencapai tujuan akan melalui tahapan etis yang tepat, mematuhi etika yang berlaku sepanjang perjalanan. Menjadi perusahaan yang profesional dan kompeten yang tentunya berkontribusi signifikan terhadap peningkatan kualitas penelitian dan pengetahuan manusia berdasarkan moralitas, sains, dan kebijaksanaan. Menyediakan layanan akademik yang berkualitas, praktis, dan dapat diandalkan bagi komunitas ilmiah yang didukung oleh personel manajemen yang profesional dan berdedikasi. Mempromosikan budaya akademik yang lebih baik melalui standar publikasi ilmiah yang terjamin. Membangun ekosistem kerja yang etis, dapat diandalkan, dan tangguh.
Kami, Institute for Advanced Science, Social and Sustainable Future atau IAS, hadir untuk meningkatkan kualitas penelitian dan pengetahuan berdasarkan moralitas, sains, dan kearifan. IAS diprakarsai oleh para ahli lingkungan, sosial, dan studi berkelanjutan. Kami berkomitmen untuk mendorong keberlanjutan melalui karya ilmiah akademik. Kami memberikan pelayanan dalam bidang publikasi ilmiah, penelitian, seminar, dan produk akademik lainnya. Saat ini, kami telah mengelola 90 jurnal dan akan terus bertambah dan berkembang. Melalui Morality Before Knowledge, mari bersama kami memajukan masa depan ilmiah yang berkelanjutan dengan prinsip etika yang benar.
Healthy greetings to all participants. The Journal of Environmental Science and Sustainable Development, University of Indonesia is a biannual peer-reviewed journal that provides an important platform for academic, policymakers, practitioners, and community representatives to examine, exchange, and reflect on a wide range of issues related to environmental science and sustainable development, particularly in developing countries. It is my great pleasure to extend heartfelt congratulations on the convening of the GESSD International Symposium 2025, which brings together more than 1,000 participants from 15 countries on November 7 to 8, 2025. As Governor of North Maluku, I'm Shirley Laos, commend this initiative for fostering collaboration, advancing scientific discourse, and strengthening our shared commitment to a more sustainable and resilient world. I wish the symposium great success and fruitful discussion that contribute meaningfully to global and regional environmental solutions. Thank you.
As we enter a decade of decisive action for climate, nature, and people, the global community is coming together to respond to this crucial challenge. And Indonesia is playing a pivotal role. April Group, a leading producer of bio-based renewable products, is taking an active part in this global movement. This is April 2030.
April 2030 is our commitment to deliver a positive impact on climate, nature, and people while growing as a sustainable producer of fiber and pulp-based products. By 2030, we will achieve net zero carbon emissions from all our land use, positive and measurable gains in nature, and zero extreme poverty in our communities, and positioning our business for sustainable growth for the next 10 years.
Indonesia is abundant with energy, which is produced from various sources in various forms and is continuously moving the dynamics of every life every day. Pertamina has continued to be the leader for more than 6 decades, with commitments to perpetually innovate in bringing energy to life. Consistently giving the most in every exploration, production, and other business activity to produce the best energy worldwide. Delivering energy evenly to cities, to remote frontiers, so that everyone can use their energy and move forward together. Various initiatives are taken in developing renewable energy, such as geothermal, solar cell, biofuel, lithium battery, and even electricity. Together with its affiliates, Pertamina is committed to achieve energy sustainability, fuel the economy, and build the future. Pertamina ensures that energy is also available for the environment, education, healthcare, and community empowerment. Pertamina believes that every continuous innovation is the energy to step forward. Pertamina is the energy, driving force of progress for every part of life.
Jika ada yang bilang kamu tidak mampu berdiri, jawablah dengan menunjukkannya cara berlari. Bertumpu pada kedua kaki sendiri. Lalu mengayunkannya dengan percaya diri. Kau harus percaya bahwa setiap perjalanan selalu memiliki arti. Setiap halangan adalah pengokoh keteguhan diri. Setiap batu adalah pijakan menuju tempat yang lebih tinggi. Dan setiap batas hadir untuk dilintasi. Sejak BRI berdiri, menjadi kaki bagi orang-orang yang ingin menembus batas diri. Tak henti melampaui diri, dari dulu, kini dan nanti.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 6th International Symposium of Earth, Energy, Environmental Science, and Sustainable Development 2025. My name is Jesa Helsinki Suyan, a master student from Graduate School of Sustainable Development, Universitas Indonesia. I will be your master of ceremony for today's event. This event is aimed to advance scientific knowledge and understanding the theoretical, methodological, and practical aspects of environmental science and sustainable development, featuring the world-class speakers and editors worldwide, such as from Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam, Uzbekistan, Russia, Malaysia, Japan, Kyrgyzstan, Taiwan, Australia, Ireland, the Netherlands, Poland, Thailand, and Turkey. This event is also intended to enhance our knowledge exchange and learning from various backgrounds all around the world. In addition, this event is organized by Journal of Environmental Science and Sustainable Development, Graduate School of Sustainable Development, Universitas Indonesia, and is also supported by April, PT Pertamina Persero, Bank Rakyat Indonesia, PT Charon Pokpan Indonesia Tbk, PT Pelayaran Tanjung Kumawa, PT Edukasi Teknologi Group, PT PLN Persero, PT Antam Tbk, PT Bumi Resources Mineral Tbk, and Dinas Lingkungan Hidup Provinsi Maluku Utara. So, before we start our agenda today, ladies and gentlemen, please kindly listen to the national anthem of Republic of Indonesia, followed with Hymn UI performed by Para Gita Universitas Indonesia. Now, let us hear a welcoming speech from Professor Dr. Andes Supriyatna MT as the Director of Graduate School of Sustainable Development, Universitas Indonesia, to officially open this year's International Symposium. to Professor Supriyatna. Please, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, distinguished esteemed colleges and honor symposium participants. Allow me, as the director of the Graduate School of Sustainable Development at University of Indonesia, to express my sincere appreciation for your presence at the 6th GASSD International Symposium 2025. This moment stands as tangible evidence of how the global academic community unites in responding to environmental urgency through integrated scientific approach. This year themes and environment conservation, integrating science, policy, and indigenous knowledge for sustainable development reflects a new paradigm in environment management. We are no longer discussing mere technical conservation, but rather the harmonization of scientific advancement, strategy policy, and traditional wisdom that has been tested across generations. The integration of these three elements becomes key in formulating contextual and sustainable solution. Environmental conservation today is not simply an effort of preservation, but a strategic investment for the continuity of human civilization. As biodiversity continues to decline and ecosystem carrying capacity reaches critical threshold, forums such as this symposium become absolutely vital. Here is where scientists, policymakers, and practitioners covers to transform research finding into concrete action, translate data into implementation policy, and adapt local knowledge into modern development framework. This symposium is not merely a venue for knowledge exchange, but a strategic space for building consensus and measurable action plans. The hybrid format we have implemented this year opens the widest possible accessibility for researchers, practitioners, and stakeholders from various corners of the world. With a physical location in the heart of Jakarta and sophisticated digital platforms, we ensure there are no geographical barriers and sharing knowledge and experience. The response we have received truly exceeds expectation. We are proud to share that a total of 1,240 participants have registered for the symposium. Among them, 406 participants successfully passed the initial review stage and have already received the result of the technical and substance review, coming from 15 different countries, including Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, Uzbekistan, Russia, Malaysia, Japan, Kyrgyzstan, Taiwan, Australia, Ireland, Netherlands, Polandia, Thailand, and Turkey. This geographical diversity enriches the discourse with various approaches, local challenges, and solution innovation that we can learn from together. We provide credible dissemination pathways through Scopus Index proceedings, publication in a Journal of Environmental Science and Sustainable Development, or GESSD, which is also Scopus indexes, as well as our various partner journals. Through this channel, we ensure every scientific contribution receives optimal visibility and impact within the international research community. The success of this symposium cannot be separated from the strategic support of corporate and international sponsors. April, Bank Rakyat Indonesia, or BRI, PT Charun Pakat Indonesia Tbk, PT Pelayaran Tanjung Kumawa, PT Edukasi Teknologi Group, PT PLN Group, Persero, PT Antam Tbk, Bumi Resources Mineral, PT Pertamina, and the Environment Agency of North Maluku Province. This multi-stakeholder collaboration demonstrates that sustainable development requires active involvement from all sectors. To the organizing committee and technical team who have working tirelessly, I extend my highest appreciation to all participants. Utilize every session to build constructive dialogue, expand research network, and explore collaborative opportunities that can transform idea into tangible file implementation. Let us make this symposium a space for incubating progressive ideas that can contribute to the global sustainable development agenda. The knowledge shared today is an investment in ecological resilience and the will for future generation. Welcome to the symposium. May it yield meaningful achievement with far-reaching impact. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Supriyatna, for your warm speech.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, before we continue to the next session, I would like to invite everyone to ask all the participants, please turn on your video, open your camera, since we will take a screenshot photo for documentation. Committee team, please help us to take the screenshot. Is everyone ready? Okay. On my count, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Once again, please show us your best smile. Please turn on the camera. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you so much. The next session will be the keynote speaker presentation. So we have two speakers. The first speaker is Miss Mari Mulyani from School of Geography and the Environment, University of Oxford, United Kingdom. And the second speaker is Mr. Fahrudin Tukuboya, an Indonesian conservationist. But I regret to inform you that Ms. Rita De Sherma from GTU Center for Dharma Studies, California, is unable to join us today because she's having another engagement. And we also would like to introduce Dr. Ahyahudin Sodri from Graduate School of Sustainable Development, Universitas Indonesia, as our moderator for today. But first, I will briefly read the curriculum vitae of Dr. Ahyahudin Sodri. So Dr. Ahyahudin Sodri is an assistant professor at the School of Environmental Science, Universitas Indonesia since 2018. So actually, the School of Environmental Science is the former name of Graduate School of Sustainable Development, for your information. And his teaching subjects include the research methodology, environmental modeling, sustainable food, energy, water, nexus system, and management of emergency response, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. Since 2018, Dr. Sodri has been acting as the managing editor of the Journal of Environmental Science and Sustainable Development, or JESSD. He holds a doctoral degree in environmental science from Universitas Indonesia in 2017 by defending his dissertation titled A Dynamic Model of Economic Growth, Mobility, and Transportation Energy Towards the Low Carbon Cities. Dr. Satria also awarded as a Master of Science in Sensor System Technology from FH Karlsruhe, Germany in 2001. In addition, since 2020, Dr. Sodri has led the research cluster of eco-innovation, sustainable production, consumption, and renewable energy. He has a particular interest in system dynamics, life cycle cost analysis, or LCCA, and life cycle assessment, or LCA. In addition, Dr. Sodri, for community engagement, also provides consulting services for some of the ministries of Republic of Indonesia and the Multilateral Development Bank. Dr. Sodri also became a board member of a professional organization. So I would like to invite Dr. Sodri. Please, this session is yours.
Okay, thank you, Jessa. Thank you, Master of the Ceremony. Esteemed speaker and distinguished participant, it's my honor to be a moderator for the important session of the 6th GEWSD Symposium. The first speaker who will give us a presentation is Dr. Mari E. Mulyani from the School of Geography and Environment, University of Oxford, United Kingdom. And I will read brief curriculum vitae. Dr. Mari Mulyani secured her Doctor of Philosophy from the University of Oxford with a thesis on climate mitigation, focusing on REDD plus institution. She developed the Asian Empowerment Model for the School Master Program, exploring the complex interplay between Asian principle, regional politics and political economy, societal norms and culture, environmental governance, and sustainable development. Dr. Mulyani also teaches philosophy of science, employing social theories in research practice and theories of governance. She supervises master dissertation on themes such as sustainable development in urban and rural setting, community-based conservation, environmental justice and equity, indigenous knowledge and local community rights, transboundary resource management, deforestation, forest fire and haze pollution, illegal wildlife trade, human wildlife conflict, and illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. Her research interests broadly encompass these areas. She also lectures on academic writing and scientific publishing at the Graduate School of Sustainable Development, Universitas Indonesia. Mrs. Dr. Mari Mulyani, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Warm regards from Oxford. My congratulations to the Journal of Environmental Science and Sustainable Development on hosting its 6th International Symposium with the theme Environmental Conservations, Integrating Science, Policy, and Indigenous Knowledge for Sustainable Development. Thank you very much for inviting me. I am very sorry not being able to join you in person due to geographical and time zone constraint. Please bear with me while I share my slide. My keynote today will focus on the examination of social theories and indigenous knowledge and how their integration can enhance our analysis of conservation challenges across both the global north and Global South. I will draw on examples from my students' dissertation at the University of Oxford to illustrate how social theories inform research practice and to highlight the growing call for Western science not only to incorporate indigenous knowledge, but importantly, to recognize it as an equal epistemic authority. So the integration of modern scientific theories and indigenous knowledge is fundamentally an epistemological question. Epistemology concerns how knowledge is produced, what counts as valid knowledge, and how we describe and represent reality. Indigenous communities across the world possess distinct systems of knowing and systems of understanding the world. Ultimately, this leads us to ontology, that is, our assumptions about the nature of reality itself. Ontology asks, what is the nature of the material, social, or political reality we seek to investigate? In research, whether or not we state it explicitly, we must connect our assumptions about reality or our ontology to the methods we use to generate valid knowledge or our epistemology. The relationship between local culture and conservation is well established. From my own experience growing up in a small village in Central Java, I witnessed how communities perceived nature in ways that shaped conservation practices. Ancient trees, for example, believed to house ancestral spirits, and they were not to be cut. Rivers were kept clean because they were considered spiritually significant. Such local wisdom provides essential guidance when designing conservation intervention. This example is drawn from a student essay that examined religious ceremonies in Thailand, such as tree ordinations and long life blessings, as mechanisms through which indigenous communities strengthen their claims over contested land in relation to external actors, including the state. The essay highlights the complex ontological perspectives held by local communities regarding material and ideological realities. It examines community beliefs in the sacred power residing within particular trees and rivers. In this context, once blessed, cutting that tree becomes morally comparable to harming a monk. These practices support conservation through deeply embedded cultural belief. This article emphasizes that diverse ontological perspectives on material and social realities shape how individuals and societies design policy intervention to manage human-wildlife conflict. The article documents prevailing myths and beliefs such as the perception of orang-utans as wild and uncultured human counterparts in parts of Southeast Asia and chimpanzees as thieves in Uganda or morally inferior in Sierra Leone. The article also notes that certain religious doctrines which stress human dominion over nature have at times hindered conservation efforts. As a result, as you can imagine, differing ontological and epistemological perspectives on wildlife and its relationship with human communities produce varied policy approaches and strategies for managing human-wildlife conflict. So, different epistemological stances, whether monism or dualism, have significant implications for how both modern scientists and indigenous communities understand the world, including the challenges of biodiversity and environmental conservation. In essence, researchers are encouraged to reflect on their positionality in relation to their objectives of the study and also the objects or subjects of the study. In conservation, we often encounter the two-culture problem, which presents three key challenges. First, issues of language and terminology that can hinder effective communication. Second, distinct knowledge traditions exist within the natural and social sciences and between modern science and indigenous knowledge, each with its own theoretical and historical foundation. Third, broader epistemological differences shape the ways of knowing, constructing the reductionist approaches of statistical methods with the complexity of qualitative analysis. Researchers must recognize and address these challenges to work effectively across diverse knowledge systems. An important lesson from Deleuze is that research projects do not emerge in a vacuum, nor do we as researchers. Deleuze and Guattari introduced the concept of multiplicity as a model of knowledge, emphasizing a network of ideas that reflects the complex and diverse nature of knowledge production. This reminds us, back to the theme of the symposium, that modern science does not develop in isolation and must consider the rich and multifaceted context of indigenous knowledge. Deleuze's concept of becoming captures the ever-changing nature of knowledge. Understanding any phenomenon is continuously shaped by new encounters, new interactions across diverse ideas and experiences. Knowledge is inherently relational and interconnected, constructed through multiple perspectives, theories, ideas, contexts, and history. This dissertation, as an example, examines the textuality of the terms sustainability and sustainable development, which entered mainstream policy discourse with the publication of Our Common Future in 1987. It investigates how stakeholders in the Malaysian oil palm sector interpret the EU's decision to phase out palm oil biofuels and how this EU policy challenges the understanding of sustainability by Malaysian stakeholders. Guided by post-structuralist reasoning, the study analyzes the social processes and discourses surrounding the term sustainability as used by the EU compared with its meaning for Malaysian oil palm producers. The study demonstrates different perceptions of reality and reveals unequal power relations between the EU and Malaysian producers. The EU policy is perceived by Malaysian stakeholders as a post-colonial economic intervention that disadvantages rural communities by discrediting indigenous knowledge in favor of dominant Western sustainability narrative. Excuse me. An increasingly prominent methodological approach in environmental governance is participatory action research, which emphasizes the co-production of knowledge between researchers and research participants. This approach is widely employed to co-create knowledge with indigenous communities, drawing on their knowledge and wisdom. Increasing work by decolonial scholars, for example, has highlighted growing criticism of the hegemony of Western science. There is now a clear movement among both natural and social scientists, as well as local knowledge holders, to ensure equal standing in collaborative research spaces. This is another example of master's dissertation that applied the concept of co-production of knowledge, also referred to as two-eyed seeing approach, which goes beyond simply incorporating indigenous knowledge into Western scientific frameworks or consulting communities at late stages of pre-designed projects. Instead, co-production is fundamentally concerned with meaningful interaction and the legitimation of diverse epistemologies and ways of knowing. This is another dissertation that reflects the intersection of science, policy, and community engagement. It applied a transdisciplinary co-production research designed to examined the collaboration between academic researchers and an Afro-descendant Quilombola community in northern Brazil that practices home garden agroforestry. The findings highlight the plural dimensions of resilience and argue for reorienting transdisciplinary practice to place indigenous knowledge on equal footing with Western science. This dissertation also applied the concept of co-production of knowledge, highlighting the limitation of current global ocean governance, particularly in marine spatial planning, in reconfiguring power, knowledge, and relationships among diverse actors, especially indigenous people. Drawing on a case study of an Aboriginal community in Tasmania, it argued for centering indigenous peoples in ocean governance. Using a two-eyed seeing approach, the study highlighted marine values and knowledge held by Aboriginal communities and emphasized that equitable co-production of knowledge is essential for just and effective ocean stewardship. Broadly, the findings show that transforming governance requires shifting beyond purely spatial approaches towards, again, equitable co-production of knowledge as a pathway towards effective and just governance. The last study that I wish to show you is this, which adopted a transdisciplinary approach combining remote sensing with participatory mapping by local communities to understand the space and place of seagrass extent, marine activities, and coastal values in Sunday, Orkney, in Ireland. Broadly, the study highlights ongoing epistemic neglect in global marine spatial planning, where local ecological knowledge remains underutilized, particularly in relation to non-economic activities and coastal value. Through participatory mapping, the study documented local ecological knowledge, diverse activities, and place-based values alongside the first techno-scientific assessment of seagrass extent derived from remote sensing. To conclude, the theme of this symposium could not be more timely. Addressing global environmental challenges requires meaningful integration of science, policy, and indigenous knowledge. Western science must be critically examined. Whose interest does it serve, and how can it remain accountable? Co-production must move beyond consultation to genuine shared authority and decision-making. But the importance of integrating science, policy, and indigenous knowledge has been increasingly emphasized across both terrestrial and marine fields of study. Nonetheless, there remains a pressing need for further research on the policy implications of such integration. Integrating diverse systems of knowledge is essential for fair, effective, and lasting environmental governance. Thank you very much for listening. I wish you all a very enjoyable and successful symposium. Many congratulations again to the Journal of Environmental Science and Sustainable Development, Prof. Yatna, Dr. Herdis Herdiansa, and all the committee. Congratulations and thank you.
So thank you very much to Dr. Mari Ekomuliani for the presentation. Distinguished participant, the integration of science, policy, and indigenous knowledge is still a matter of debate among scholars. Dr. Mari Muriani, in her clear presentation, showed the theory, a conceptual model, and a case study. For instance, in the complexity of human-wildlife conflict and other research topics. Most importantly, her research has proven how this integration can be implemented in policy in the Asian region. As a result, this integration could improve and secure the environment in the region. Her research strongly suggests the collaboration between scholars, communities, and policymakers in the co-production of the knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen, the second speaker who will give us presentation is Dr. Pahrudin Takuboya. May I read first his curriculum PT? Okay. Dr. Pahrudin began his career as NGO activist in environmental and community empowerment. In 2002, he became a civil servant, eventually serving as the head of the North Maluku Provincial Environmental Services. Currently, he is the expert staff to the governor of North Maluku. He holds a doctoral degree from the School of Environmental Science, University of Indonesia, and a Bachelor of Engineering and Master degree in Human Resource Management from Muslim University of Indonesia. With over 2 decades of experience in regional planning, environmental management, and community empowerment, he has significantly contributed to sustainable development in Eastern Indonesia. His doctoral research on the Togutil indigenous community led to an internationally published paper titled Togutil Ecological Hunting Calendar on Halmahera Island, Indonesia, and the development of the CAS calendar asset and strategy community empowerment model. Dr. Parudin is also active in professional organization, including the Indonesian Engineer Association and APIK Indonesian Network, in promoting the synergy of science, policy, local knowledge, and culture for a sustainable future. Dr. Fahrudin, the time is yours.
Thank you, Pak Ahya, the moderator today's very phrase for introducing me to all participants who are present here. Good morning, everyone. I would like to express my high appreciation to GAWSD for giving me to this opportunity. Today, I would like to share information about this recovery effect in the Tugutil community around local knowledge and daily life practices and daily habits, especially in hunting activities. This knowledge actually contain important values. They are full of wisdom. There are three important highlights for this presentation. The first is local knowledge of the Tugutil, its community itself, and the second conservation practices, and third last about the environmental management. This information from my research for 8 months, 2 years ago, and at 2 locations in Halmahera Island, which the research place, with the participatory discussion, a deep interview to approach to local people. Okay, what are the issue and the problem in the Tugutil community? The Tugutil community resides deep within the forest of Halmahera in North Maluku. Currently, some of them have moved and coexist with the village community. Their way of life relies heavily on the forest for food, shelter, and cultural practices. The forest for a Tugutil community is more than just a place to live. It's a very fundamental part of them. They are have a relationship with nature, reflect deep ecological knowledge, and a way of living this is about sustainability and harmony with the environment. On the other hand, logging for industrial and residential needs, mining activity, have a negatively impact their life and the forest. That's happened that I think we cannot be denied. And what local knowledge can we get from my research? Local wisdom is referred to knowledge that has been handed down from one generation to the next. This kind of knowledge help keep these things in a balance between people and the nature. The Tugutil people who live in island Halmera have a deep connection with the forest and life in harmony with it. They have a way of hunting is sustainable, meaning they take only what they need and do not harm to the environment. Most of the Tugutil community live in near rivers. Their primary food source is sagu, and they also eat wild boars, deer, and couscous for their for protein. This help keep the way of life of the Tugutil people going while also keeping the natural balance and has supported them for many years. The Tugutil people use a traditional hunting. It's one of the knowledge of the uh, Tugutil people. They hunt depending on the season, the kind of animals, and whether the animal is breeding. There are three main times. I call it the three period of the years when they hunt. The first period, the local knowledge call is Abutanga period. Obutanga period. Obutanga period is last 6 months. During the rainy season and the time they hunt bigger animals like pigs and deer. And the second period is Ohinoto period. Ohinoto period is 2 months long in the early dry season, and they focus on smaller animals like frogs and lizards. And the last period is we call is Oyata period. It's a changing time when they hunt less to let animal number recover. This hunting calendar help keep wildfire and balance of the make sure there is enough for their future. How do tell people hunt? They have several techniques for catching their animal. Omodoi Oyata. What is the Omodoi Oyata? Omodoi Oyata is one of the technique they're using the case. They're using the dogs to chase and catch animal like wild boar and deer. And the second is Omodoi Dudeso. Um, uh, what is Omodoi Dudeso? Setting up a snare or trap in the places where animal footprint and or dropping or are seen. Often use the cat's board, deer, seavers, and lizard. And the third they call it holy mono. They're shooting animals with bow and arrows, usually aimed as couscous and reptiles. And the fourth, three traps. The people, the community, using a branch coverage and sticky tree sap to catch bird like parrots, cockatoos, and pigeons. And the last is animal call imitation. The Tugutul people making sound like animals to attract them of hiding and often use their forbid and couscous. Tegucigalpa people use their local knowledge about hunting and managing forest result based on certain guiding ideas that help keep balancing between human life and environmental. There are three main principles that apply in this community in hunting. The first is caution in hunting. The Telugu people do not allow hunting of animal they are if they are pregnant or nursing. This rule is placed to help keep wildfowl population and support the balances of the ecosystem. And the second, sustainable resource management. The people separate their main source of protein, like deer and boar, from another animals they used to as extra food. They only hunt to these extra animal hunts when they really need. Hunting is keep to what the family requires, so they don't take too much from the forest. This help their forest healthy and balances for the long time. And the third principle is respect for nature. The Telugu people have a big respect for nature and animals. Before they go hunting, they do special ceremony. They call like the Omahiloa. Omahiloa, it's local knowledge. To ask for permission from the spirit, God, and the protect nature. This is so how much very care about the environment and follow rules that help keep nature healthy. The other rules that have been applied to have become the knowledge of all members of the hunting community, yet the Gutul people use the certain symbol for the mark their territory, like Odudunga and Omodoy Madudunga. This symbol act to a traditional marker to help prevent conflict between hunters and make sure the hunting happens fairly across the land. This mark to keep the environmental in balance and maintain peace within the community. So let's not war with each other between community. Of this practice. For local government community, that just as cultural practices, but it's the way of understanding and living that helps to balance between how to people live and how to environment is taken care of. When this knowledge is acknowledged and applied, it's offer many benefits. It helps local community become more resilient and independent, while also helping to protect and preserve nature for the long term. And the second benefit for net environmental, especially, they help keep biodiversity safe by controlling when and which animal are hunted. Supported, very supported to balance it of wildfire and keep the forest ecosystem healthy. And the next, what is important lesson do we gain from this from the pupil? The first lesson for conservation. This cycle hunting calendar help them decide which animals to hunt and when. And the system stop people from hunting too much of any one animal like wild and boar and gas. And second lesson, it's about the environmental management. To good tell people knowledge is a natural way of keeping track of change of the environmental, the hunting schedule based on this natural sign greater and then set that. Sorry. What today? What are the current challenges and opportunity? challenges we about deforestation. Deforestation happen when meaning of large industry destroy forests, which remove the homes of Togotel people and takes away of the food and depend on. And the second is climate change. Climate change is causing change of decision, which influence how to animal act and interfere with the usual time when the Togotel people go hunting. And challenge and the second the last challenge is modernization. Modernization is a new way of living along with economic pressure are pushing some people to turn hunting into the business instead of the just doing of for food. And opportunities. We talk about opportunities. This is an increasing awareness for community fragile or indigenous community ecological knowledge, which help to supporting conservation activity. Using the local knowledge can aid to protecting ecosystem, while also helping to maintain the good tradition and the way of life. And the last, my conclusion for the presentation is the Tugutal way of hunting show us to a strong understanding of the environment and how to live in harmony with nature. And my recommendation for this time, let's work together more closely between the government and the community time to help keep nature and ecosystem safe. Use the traditional method such as Tugutul system in the local effort to protect the environment. Give a support to law and facility to help community take care of their land and keep it still healthy. Okay, thank you very much for listening. Back to Pak Dr. Ahya.
Okay, thank you very much to Dr. Parudin Takuboyo for interesting presentation. Distinguished participant, Dr. Parudin shared with us his important research on how the indigenous ecological knowledge can play a critical importance on environmental protection, living in harmony, keeping the diverse for the sustainable, natural, social, and economic environment. His research on Togutil tribe's ecological hunting calendar on Halmahera Island, Indonesia, proved the theory a conceptual model in co-production of knowledge as interdisciplinary environmental research. Ladies and gentlemen, let's continue our exciting session to the QA. And for this first QA, the committee has collected the interesting questions for Dr. Mari Mulyani. I will read the question one by one. The first question, if our current knowledge system are shaped by colonial legacies, how can we begin to decolonize or re-question of what we consider scientific knowledge? Second question is, in participatory research, how should researchers position themselves to avoid reproducing power relation with the research process? And the last but not the least question is, may I check it? Okay. How can research the tension between modern science, which aspires to universality, and local wisdom, which is bound to place and distinct experience? Dr. Mari, please, to answer these three questions.
Thank you very much for all your thoughtful questions. I will group them into three interconnected themes. The first set of questions concern how we might begin to decolonize what we consider scientific knowledge, given the deep influence of colonial legacies on dominant knowledge systems. The second set of questions asks how researchers can position themselves in participatory research to avoid reproducing existing power relations. And the third set of questions address the tension between modern science, which aspires to universal principles, and local wisdom, which is rooted in place and lived experience. Let me respond to each of these set of questions in turn. Firstly, decolonizing our understanding of science should begin with acknowledging that scientific knowledge is not neutral, or does it emerge in a vacuum? It has been historically shaped by power relations, including colonial processes that privilege Western epistemologies while marginalizing other ways of knowing. Decolonization does not mean rejecting Western science, but rather recognizing epistemic injustice, questioning whose knowledge has been legitimized and whose has been excluded, and creating space for multiple ways of knowing, creating space for multiple knowledge systems to stand on equal footing. In practice, this requires collaborative research frameworks such as co-production and participatory action research that bring scientists, policymakers, indigenous and local communities into genuine partnership. It also means shifting from extractive research practices towards relational and reciprocal practices, towards knowledge co-production, and community expertise is to be respected. Ultimately, decolonizing science is about humility, academic humility, scientific humility. It is about integrating diverse ways of knowing that enriches our understanding of complex environmental challenges and strengthens our capacity to respond to them. Right, so interconnected question is the second set of question, which relates to how to avoid the reproduction of power relations. This requires researchers to reflect critically on their own positionality and recognize the authority and privilege that often accompany academic roles. So rather than entering the field as technical experts, I would suggest researchers should approach communities as partners and knowledge holders. This involves, again, practicing humility, transparency, and accountability throughout the research process. It means co-developing research questions and methods rather than imposing external formulated research questions or agendas. Importantly, researchers must ensure that community priorities and values guide data collection and interpretation. Ethical participatory research, in this case, involves building trust, allowing sufficient time for dialogue, so not to be in rush or at the end of the stage of the project, only then community was engaged. And engaging in continuous reflexivity is key for an effective research process. Researchers should listen more than they speak, to share authority and to recognize when stepping back is more ethical than leading. In essence, participatory research is not simply a method, but a relational practice grounded in respect, reciprocity, and the recognition of diverse knowledge. The third set of questions relate to the tension between what often referred to as modern science, which is grounded in natural sciences, which seek universal principles, compared to local wisdom, which is grounded in place and lived experience. In my view, rather than viewing these knowledge systems as opposing, we can approach them as complementary, each offering distinct strengths. Modern natural sciences provide tools for pattern recognition, modeling generalization across contexts, while local and indigenous knowledge is deeply attuned to specific ecosystem histories and cultural meanings, often capturing nuances and relational dimensions that universal frameworks may overlook. So to engage this tension constructively, I suggest researchers adopt epistemic pluralism by acknowledging that no single knowledge system has absolute truth. Practically, this means designing research that values context alongside generality and that treat local wisdom as source of theory rather than merely data to be gathered or to be collected. It requires collaborative methods rather than extraction, co-production knowledge, allowing local concepts and categories to shape the research process, and being attentive again to existing power relations. Ultimately, the goal is not to avoid differences, but to create space where diverse ways of knowing and understanding the world complement one another. So I hope these are helpful. You are most welcome to contact me if there are more questions prompted through listening to other speakers. Once again, thank you for all your thoughtful questions, and I wish you all an enjoyable symposium. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Bu Mari. I know some of you has further question to going deeper on this such interesting topic, but due to the limited time for this session, I will stop here for the question for the first speaker, Bu Dr. Mari. Now let's me invite some of the participants to raise question for second speaker, keynote speaker, I mean, to Dr. Pahrudin. You may raise your hand or write on chat for your question. So again, I invite some of the participants to raise the question for Dr. Pahrudin Takuboya. You may raise your hand or write on chat. Okay. During the waiting of your raised hand, maybe I here get the question by text for you, Dr. Pahrudin. The question is, in the context of environmental policy, how can indigenous ecological knowledge such as this be effectively integrated into formal conservation regulation implemented by government? Dr. Pahrudin, please to answer this question.
Okay, very interesting question. I try to answer that question. How to please again the question.
Okay.
How about
No problem.
regulation?
No problem. I will repeat again the question. The question is, in the context of environmental policy, how can indigenous ecological knowledge such as this be effectively integrated into formal conservation regulation that can be implemented by governments? From your
Okay.
experience, I mean, yes, please, Pak.
Okay. The first of all, I think the government must be recognized and respect the first of recognize and respect for the indigenous college knowledge. That is part of right of indigenous people too. And the second, we engage to indigenous participation. Indigenous people must be actively involved in decision-making process related to environmental conservation. And the second, collaborate, and the third is collaboration and cooperation. Government should work with indigenous people to develop activity and sustainable conservation regulation. That's not only government itself, but they have to participatory discuss with the meaningful participation. I mean, with the people. And fourth, how about make an inclusive regulation development? Now, conservation regulation should be developed and taking into the account indigenous ecological knowledge and indigenous people needs. And maybe the fifth, how about education and training? The government should provide the education and training always to do that to indigenous people to enhance their capacity to manage the environmental. And last, maybe about escort and law enforcement. Now, I think it's a government answer. The government must be guard and enforce law related to environment conservation by considering indigenous ecological knowledge. Development of environment management system, government should be developed an effective and sustainable environment management to taking into account indigenous ecological knowledge, the special for case the Tugutil people. The one of my finding fact, the hunting calendar of the Tugutil people. This is very unique. That is how government should be to protect and how do they determine determine to this their regulation of the national and local government. I think as it's a big challenge for us to do how to protect them and how to promote their the knowledge, local knowledge, and that's to make a rule by the formal rule by the government. I think now we take time for discuss this and very serious this discuss to implement it this to apply this regulation of the for government of Indonesia. I think that's Pak Ahya.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Fahrudin Takuboya. I think we have a participant who raised her hand. Okay, Mrs. Pidi Hindayani, I invite you to raise your question. Please, Bu.
Thank you, Pak Ahyahudin, for the opportunity for me to join this conference. And I would like to ask to Dr. Fahrudin for your interesting presentation. You explained previously that climate change influenced the Tokutil way of living in a negative term. Could you please explain how do they adapt to the situation, and if this kind of adaptation is quite effective to face the situation now, and is it and if some possibilities regarding some interventions will be needed in the future to support their adaptation? Thank you.
Please, Dr. Fahrudin, to answer the question.
Yes, that's a very important question, the good question. We talk about weather change. SAC is the wind, rain, and temperature. Yeah, I think that's happened today. So, that's just a very big influence to like animal behavior. SAC is a bit migration, a bit of cows and dietary change. That's plant grows, SAC is a flowering, fruiting leaf, and etc. The Tugutil people hunting calendar system adapted to the impact of the climate change in several ways. Nah, more they are more careful observation. To good people or more careful is observing natural sign, and to predict change is weather and season. Uh, and then they are flexible in the setting hunting schedule and the gathering natural results according to seasonal change. They use the traditional knowledge to predict climate change and regulated hunting to activity. They work close with the other community members to share knowledge and resources. Thus, the Tugutul people hunting calendar system was highly adaptive and allowed them to survive and changing environmental. So I think this is my answer.
Thank
Hope
you
you.
very much, Dr. Fahrudin.
Yes.
Distinguished participant, I read some very interesting question from all of the participants, but unfortunately, the time is just 2 minutes left. So I have to close this important session, and I will forward your question directly to Dr. Fahrudin Takuboyo, and may I request Dr. Fahrudin to answer directly to the question participant later on. Ladies and gentlemen, now we're approaching to end of this session. We have discussing how about the theory, integration, science, policy, and Indigenous knowledge. And two important keynote speaker also prove us with very, let's say, interesting case study. And we know that the collaboration of between, I mean, researcher, indigenous, policymaker will produce co-production of knowledge that benefit for us, benefit for Earth, benefit for the future of our environment. As the moderator, I thank you very much for your attention. Now I give it back again to the master of ceremony. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ayaudin Sodri. I hope all the participants gain valuable insights from the inspiring keynote speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to remind all of you to fill out the attendee form for this keynote session. Our committee has already sent the link through the chat box. And please make sure that you use the symposium Zoom background and take a screenshot of your Zoom screen as a proof of attendance. And our last session for today is the oral presentation in parallel session. The room will be open at 8:45 a.m., but unfortunately, this session is held exclusively for paper presentators only. And don't forget, there will be a different attendee form for parallel session. So please make sure you fill out both of the forms. So for those who will be presenting their papers, please kindly join the Zoom link based on each room. You can find the link on the chat box below. But don't forget, all presenters to please rename themselves according to the format instructed by the committee before joining the session. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining our first day of 6th International Symposium of Earth, Energy, Environmental Science, and Sustainable Development 2025. This event is organized by Journal of Environmental Science and Sustainable Development, Graduate School of Sustainable Development, Universitas Indonesia, and supported by April, PT Pertamina Persero, Bank Rakyat Indonesia, PT Charun Pokpan Indonesia Tbk, PT Pelayaran Tanjung Kumawa, PT Edukasi Teknologi Group, PT PLN Persero, PT Tbk, PT Bumi Resources Mineral Tbk, and Dinas Lingkungan Hidup Provinsi Maluku Utara. And we would like to inform you that we will announce this year's best paper and best presenter tomorrow. So please make sure to come again tomorrow. Okay, I think that's all. Once again, my name is Chesa Helsinki-Sian as your Master of Ceremony. Thank you very much for your attention and see you tomorrow on the second day for the webinar session and closing ceremony. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Pak Haya. Halo, Bu Mari. Thank you very much, Pak.
My pleasure, Pak. Ya, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.